Wolf. I'm with the 5th New York Regiment. We are our living historians and reenactors. We're based out of Fort Montgomery, which is right on the Hudson River, right by Bear Mountain and right by the bridge. So if you guys ever have a chance to take a troop meeting down there, come on down and check it out. There's lots of hiking there too. It's really pretty. Today, I'm going to demonstrate butter churning and how to make butter. So everybody have their butter containers with their heavy cream in it? Hold it up so I can see it. Perfect. Awesome. That's right, Talenti. It's my favorite ice cream. Okay, so what are you going to do? I want you guys to start shaking it, okay? So all that butter starts out with is just heavy cream, right? And if your heavy cream's got to be at a certain temperature, if you're between 55 to 60 degrees is really ideal for it to churn. Mine actually, it's so warm in this house. I'm in the Brinckerhoff House today, which is from 1750, and it's really warm. We don't have air conditioning in here. So your air conditionings are definitely hand fans. So you guys are all nice and cool, but keep shaking those containers. So what you're doing is the butter it's called an emulsion, and it's a mixture of your milk, those milk fats to separate. So when you're shaking your little containers, the same thing is going to happen. It's going to separate the milk fat from the butter. So mine is actually just turned, and it is, if you were here to hear it, it sounds like milk. And it gets harder and harder and harder to shake the more you do it. So you got, when your one hand starts falling asleep, you got to switch to the other hand, and then the other hand. Then you have butter. I have my butter in a bowl with the buttermilk, right? And I'm going to take that and use my cheesecloth, and I'm going to squeeze out as much of the buttermilk that I can. The reason we do this is to make sure that we can preserve our butter, because butter does not have to be, refrigerated as long as it is preserved correctly, and you get rid of as much of that butter fat and the buttermilk as possible out of your ball of butter. So you've got your butterball here. Anybody like butterball turkey? I like butterball butter.
Yeah.
So in this big container here, I have, now we always want to make sure that you're keeping your buttermilk, right? We're going to drink that later. We're going to add it into our pancakes or anything like that. So now the next step, can I have the trencher, please? I'm going to do is called washing your butter. So now once your butter is separated, right, and you've got the butter waiting for you to be washed, okay, you take some ice cold water and you pour it over top of the ball of butter, and then you squeeze out more of that buttermilk. You can see some of that buttermilk coming out, and you keep doing that. You do that probably 3 or 4 times, because what that's doing is that's getting as much of the milk out of your butter to keep sure that it doesn't spoil.
Cindy, can I ask a question? What if your butter's,
Sure, go ahead.
your milk is cold? If it's really cold, what happens?
If your milk is really cold, it's going to take a lot longer for it to separate, because it's a very temperature controlled substance. So when it's really warm like it is right now, I mean, it turned like no tomorrow here, because it's very, very hot. And the butter, where's my knife? The butter would be done usually in like the spring. I mean, you could do butter year round, but you would have to make sure that it wasn't too cold or too hot. So whereas like you'd be doing your candles at a certain time of the year, the butter you could do year round because your cows always have butter, correct? You know, your goats have butter, milk that you can take. And so now after you've got your butter and everything separated, how's everybody's cream coming? Is it starting to get tough? We still shaking? It's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you guys see the butter in here? Right? So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna salt it. Now, salt was used as a preservative, and that's how they kept everything from spoiling, right? Because if you didn't have refrigeration, which back in the 18th century, we did not have refrigeration. It's very, very, very loose because it's so hot. But if it was a little cooler, I'd be able to press it, which was a very common thing because, here, let me show you my press. So now this is a butter press. Got a hole in the bottom to get more of the milk out. And you would press it into blocks. If I was selling any of my butter, if you can see that, that's my little butter prep, my little butter. So I can put a little, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
That's definitely mine. You can also smooth out your butter using some butter paddles. Okay. These I actually got on my honeymoon down in Colonial Williamsburg. But butter, fresh butter is really, really easy to make. Everybody still shaking?
Yeah.
A butter ball over here. How are we doing over there, guys? Anybody else got their butter separating yet? Okay, so remember, what do you do after we're gonna wash the butter, right? Here, let me start over again. I got some more cream. Then I just got regular cream, right? And I'm gonna pour it into my churn. Then take your plunger or you're shaking up. And it starts out really, really loose, and then really quickly it starts to turn, right? So now, right before it turns to butter, you could actually still use it. If you add a little sugar, you got whipped cream. But they only use whipped cream for a dessert called syllabub, which was actually Thomas Jefferson's favorite dessert, which is extremely yummy. Does anybody have any questions yet? Are their arms falling off yet?
Cindy, how?
Turning.
Yay!
How long when it's cold? Is it, because I don't see any liquid on ours, but it's definitely together. So is that better, or do I still need to shake it more?
Do you have any liquid at all with it, or is it completely solid?
It's a completely solid, very little liquid.
Well, that means you have butter.
Woohoo!
Does it look like butter? Does it look yellow?
It's not. It's yellowish. It's still very soft, but
That's okay because it's still hot. Remember.
Okay.
Just keep shaking it until your arm feels like it's gonna fall off.
Shake it until your arms. Yeah, you want to shake it?
All right.
Okay, if you don't have any cheesecloth, you can actually use a dish towel.
A dish towel.
Okay.
Buttermilk out, right?
Ow.
Butter.
What if it's getting a little chunky?
That's exactly what you want it to do. The butter. So you're gonna put it yep, there. I see a butter ball over there. You're gonna make sure you put cold water. Yep, Francesca's got some there. You want to butter is gonna butter coming. But let me tell you, when you taste it, it's gonna taste totally different. How we doing over there, Lizelle? Good, awesome.
And so we rinse it in the water and then, okay. Container.
I don't.
No, yeah, I got you. No worries.
Anybody cheesecloth? Oh, look, Francesca's got butter. Anybody else got butter? Did you salt it yet, Francesca?
Okay.
Yep, you can use that.
Okay.
If it's really soft like whipped cream, you got to keep shaking it.
Mix it with the.
So like on the inside, you've got the milk, the fat on the inside, and you're breaking apart those little balls. So every time you shake, it's hitting those balls apart, and that's gonna what separates it from into the milk fat and the butter. How you doing there, Claire? Traylon, you're doing good? Oh, yep, Shannon looking good. Keep going. Yep. There you go, Sophia. That's awesome. So butter is definitely, it's been something that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. The Indians have actually been making butter clarified. It's called ghee. And you can actually, you can find it in your grocery stores even today. And it's very interesting. During the Middle Ages, butter was not something that the rich and the poor, would eat. It would actually be, it was a peasant's food. It was for the poor because it was something they didn't seem like it was going to be, healthy for them. But it was a very also English and European thing. It wasn't something. How to clean it? Sure, absolutely. You're gonna keep going, Lizelle. If it's going back, that means you have to keep going. It might be a little too cold still. So after your, oh, mine is turning again. Hold on. To wash your butter, you're gonna use cold water, and you're gonna rinse your butter ball in the cold water. And then once you're gonna rinse it like 4 or 5 times so that you can get as much of the buttermilk out as possible. See, so there you go, Sophia, see? How's everybody else's butter coming?
Good.
Awesome. Okay, so mine just turned again. So now I'm gonna take it out of here, right? Take it out of my churn crock. I'm gonna wipe off the butter.
Hi.
Hi.
So we got a problem here. Esther shook her tub so vigorously that she struck the lid off. And it's all over the floor.
Oh no!
So how much?
You can do what you can fill your container like halfway or whatever. It really depends on how long you want to be shaking your butter for.
All right. So I just poured it.
Okay. So now I've now put my butter into the cheesecloth and I'm squeezing out.
Excuse me.
Shh, hold on, let it talk.
Amazing. It's so true. You can use a clean towel.
Do you have any?
Yep.
How do
You can use either a cheesecloth, you can use a towel, anything that has holes in it so you can squeeze it out.
Okay.
After you've squeezed out the butter, as much of that buttermilk as you can, then you're gonna salt it.
Oh, okay.
Be a lot at all.
There's a butter.
They would also
So here.
they would have also put salt on the outside of their salt blocks to make sure that they were able to preserve it better. Because there was no refrigeration. They might have had a cellar, but even still, things can still go bad in their cellars. Everybody should be done with their butter. How's it looking? Awesome. I got lots of thumbs up over here. I know it tastes really good. I don't have anything to put it on though. Now remember, if you put enough salt, you don't even have to refrigerate it. But because we don't have enough, if you haven't squeezed out enough of that buttermilk, it can go bad. So I would still refrigerate it.
Is this?
Oh, Violet, looks like you have whipped cream still, right? I have a plunger so that I can plunge on it instead of using the spoon. That is true.
Is this good?
Say again? Okay, so now you're gonna take all of that butter and put it into your bowl and salt it if you've already done it. Everybody taste it yet? Nube's got her dad going. My husband just stole some butter. Does anybody have any questions for me? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Sadie.
It's okay.
You can use do a couple paper towels. Don't just use one.
Dan that lives upstairs.
So you could probably, truthfully, I don't think that your butter's gonna last long outside the fridge because you're gonna eat it because it tastes so good. Hey, Gianna, after it's separated, you're gonna wash your butter. So you're gonna take it and put it into your cheesecloth or your cloth or your paper towels, and you're gonna squeeze it out with the cold water. How's it going there? Awesome. See, Sadie, pretty cool, right? Then of course you have to taste it, you know, because tasting the butter is the best, right? Oh, yep. Look what Alexa's got some butter in that container. I see it.
Is this good?
Yep. A yellow, like just like real butter looks like, and like a very liquidy, thin, almost milk consistency, because that's going to be buttermilk. Uh-oh, you can't get it out? Shake that butter, shake that butter. Yes, it's hard too, exactly. That's right, get your parents involved.